All right. So today we have Adrienne on. And she's one of the newest members of the AUM training program. So, Adrienne, would you mind going ahead and introducing yourself, sharing where you're from, and a little bit about your background?
All right. Thank you, Arturo. Yes, thank you for allowing me to come on today. I am Adrienne Robinson, and I live in Maryland. I am originally from Virginia, and I have had over 20 years of experience in the insurance industry. Um, and Actually, most of my experience is in health insurance. I was with the particular health insurance company for many years until I was downsized. And then after that, I decided to branch out and be an entrepreneur. So I opened my own, became an agent with farmers, opened my own insurance agency. And so I've been currently selling, property and casualty products, auto and home. But my real passion is for life insurance. So I do sell a lot of life insurance for farmers, and farmers does allow you to, you know, uh, you know, be able to sign on with other vendors, not necessarily be captive. And particularly with life insurance, I didn't want to limit myself to my local, service area because I am licensed in the local area where I am in Maryland, which includes Maryland, DC, and Virginia, sort of like a tri-state area. But I also wanted to become licensed in areas where I have family, so I can help other family members. So my husband's family has my husband has family in Michigan and in Georgia, and then I have family in North Carolina as well. So I became licensed in those states. And so I wanted to also become appointed with carriers that could provide life insurance in those areas where my farmers agency could not reach. So I am an agent with Mass Mutual, and most recently I actually became appointed with Transamerica as well, to allow me to provide some policies that either farmers or Mass Mutual can't provide. So I could fill in the gaps, where I needed to make sure I'm offering, products that anyone, that could reach the needs of the customers in the states that I'm appointed.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So it seems like you got a real passion for insurance. Can you kind of just take a step back and tell me where that passion come from and kind of what motivated you to even get into the business in the first place?
Like I said, I originally started out with health insurance, and after I got downsized, I said, well, let me just see what else is out there, broaden my experience. And so the property and casualty is nice, but like I said, I'm more passionate about life insurance. And I think particularly because of the experiences I've had with my family. Back in 2000 was my real, sort of first experience with life insurance, because up until then I had no deaths in my family. But my grandmother died in the year 2000, and no one, and she had been a widow, and she had been a homemaker all of her life, had 6 children. And so long story short, when she died, no one, everybody was just looking around. I was like, well, no, she don't have a policy. Everybody's looking around like, well, who's gonna pay for it? So, my mom, her brothers, my mom has 5 brothers, and everybody was just looking at each other. They're like, no, I don't know who's gonna pay for this. So long story short, I was thankful that I was able to pay for my grandmother's funeral. I got money out of my 401k at the time and did it like a 401k loan, and ended up paying myself back. But that was my first experience of being in a situation where, someone dies and nobody has any way to pay for it. So I was thankful that I was able to do that for my grandmother. And then back in 2018, I had an uncle to die suddenly. And my mom had had a stroke, and she had moved up here to Maryland with me and my brother. We were taking care of her, being a caregiver. And then so she left 2 of her brothers in her home to watch over her home while she was here with us. And one of the uncles died. And so that was another situation that came up, no life insurance. What are we going to do? So, yeah, so we all had to sort of chip in. And so at that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to start a mission. Everybody in my family is going to get life insurance. It's just not acceptable to not have life insurance. And I definitely seek to educate people about the importance of it, and let them know. I mean, it really helps ease the grieving process when you have it. And it just, it really is something that we need to understand the importance of, and make it a priority.
Yeah, and that's great that you mentioned that because you have firsthand experience on that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like now you have a reason to kind of share your story, right? But you also have a mission because sometimes you're the only person to ever have the conversation with people about that, right? Like you
Right.
that might be the first time and the only time they ever have a planning conversation about any event that something happens. Making sure that you got the proper things in place, right?
Most definitely.
Awesome, awesome. And so, how did you come across me in the first place? How did you find out about Arturo Johnson Consulting?
Just on Facebook, and as I have transitioned into being an agency owner, I'm learning all things about being an entrepreneur, and I think the big appeal about your ad was, hey, dialing for dollars was just like sort of going nowhere. And I'm at the point, I think, I'm sort of like a senior person. I've been in the industry for a while, so I'm not like 20 or 30 just out there, ready to uh, cold call and do all of that. I'm pretty much at a point in my life where I want to make good use of my time. So the dialing for dollars concept really is just doesn't work for me. I would prefer to be seen as more of a subject matter expert, and to educate and to have my clients come to me. So your program really appealed to me in that, that we could, uh, design an ad where people could really, seek what you are providing, the services that you have, and they see a need for it already. And it cuts out, the cold calling and all of that, so that I can make better use of my time.
Awesome, awesome. And so, what's some of what's been your perception of the way you received versus doing cold methods that still kind of work, as opposed to like what's been happening over the last couple of weeks for you, as far as people just when you're reaching out to them after they've kind of used the system that you set up?
Mm-hmm. Well, I've gotten a couple of, different scenarios. I mean, some people, I think it looks like they really, I've been getting a lot of good comments on my ad in particular, and I've been looking at the comments and I've been replying to them, and, letting them know, thank you for your interest, and let me know if I can help you or your family. But a lot of the people that I've been getting a lot of leads consistently, and some will book in Calendly, some will not. I am following up, doing my, emails and phone calls, and text messages and so forth, and sending my Calendly link. But some, even though they may sign up for Calendly, some of them may not show up. So you just have to send it again. Or you do have the couple of people that I've talked to. They're interested right away. They're open. They're open. So that's a good thing. So you'll get sort of both ends still. So I guess it's still definitely some work with chasing after leads like you would in a typical way, but at least these are more warm. They know what you offer, and they're ready.
Awesome, thank you for the transparency. I definitely appreciate that. And so, yeah, so you posted in the group that you kind of wrote your first app and policy. So would you mind just kind of sharing how that went and what happened? Because we definitely want to hear about that.
Yes, yes, yes. That was, interestingly enough, that was a lead that was, my ad is I guess, posted in 6 states since I'm licensed in 6 states. And that was an ad or a lead that was in the state of Maryland. And so, and a woman not too far, I mean, she's probably not that far from where my office is located, but she basically was, interested. She was ready. So we went over some quotes with her, got it in her price range, and she pretty much told me what she wanted, and it went very quickly. She didn't really have to waste a lot of time and do a lot of extras with her because she liked the ad. It appealed to her, and it spoke to where she was. She's her I believe she's in her early 60s, and she's just like, yep, it's time for me to think about this life insurance. I want to go ahead and take care of it. So she really, we did it. Probably took about an hour to get through the process, talking and filling out the app, and she was a happy camper.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. And so, what do you think from the ad, or what do you remember that she said that kind of stood out to her, that kind of resonated with her? Can you kind of talk about your ad and what she shared with you, or why that was something that connected and stood out to her?
Yeah, she just, my ad is sort of like a testimony from my uncle's point of view. And, I mentioned that I had two uncles that lived in my mother's house while she was up here while we were caregiving for her. And so the one uncle that remained in the house after the other uncle died, it was sort of from his perspective. And, just his feelings. My ad talked about how he felt alone, and his sister was in another state being cared for by her children, and my other uncle was sort of like a companion for him, even though they fought like cats and dogs, but they were there for each other. So when he was gone, he was all alone, and so I think that appealed to my customer, because she was just like, yep, my children are all grown up. My health is, sort of, it's okay, but, I want to make sure that they're okay, and that everybody knows what my wishes are. And so I think that feeling of being alone and not being prepared for, if something happened, really appealed to her.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, well, thank you for hopping on just for a few minutes to kind of share your story. And if people, are watching this and they just want to get more information from you, where can they find you?
They can find me. I'm on Facebook. I've got my Adrienne Robinson Agency on Facebook, and then I've got two Facebook pages for business. My Adrienne Robinson at Farmers Agency, and then my just Adrienne Robinson Agency link on Facebook. And then my email is arobinsonagency@gmail.com. So either of those avenues would be great.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for hopping on. Definitely wanted to celebrate, just your first win, because I know there's more to come, and definitely was fired up to see that and hop on with you for just a few minutes. So thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time, and you take care.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day too.
You
All
too.
right. Yeah.